Imagine living without the weight of overthinking, without the burden of past regrets or future worries. You've seen animals. No stress, no anxiety, just pure presence in the moment. What if I told you this kind of freedom was available to you too, right now? In this video, we'll dive into how to escape the trap of constant mental chatter and reclaim the simple, instinctual peace that animals effortlessly experience. Stop letting your mind control you and start living like the creature you were always meant to be. Stick with me. This is going to change everything. If you're serious about your personal health, whether you want to stop suffering, get clear guidance on how to stop overthinking, or to be more present in life, now's the perfect time to subscribe to our channel. Like this video if you're ready to grow further as a person. Now, let's continue. Have you ever woken up several times during the night worrying about something that hasn't even happened yet? Those pesky what-ifs that just won't go away and constantly fill you with dread. Although it is understandable to be concerned, what happens if the majority of these things do not come to fruition? Look at today's video where we go over everything in detail and take your mind off of things that haven't even happened yet. In order to overcome anxiety, it is necessary to learn to regulate your thoughts so that you can regain composure, release your deepest worries, and live in the here and now. You risk missing out on some deep insights that could alter your perspective on life if you disregard this. Make sure to subscribe so you can continue learning how to live a life centered around peace and understanding, and stay tuned for a practical way that you can start utilizing immediately to liberate your mind from these needless weights. Things could get tough at times. No living thing, from the smallest protocells to the biggest humans, has it easy. We think as though have it especially bad. Internal and external challenges are ever present. Make sure your ideas are real problems and not just the product of your mind's incessant, pointless conjecture by taking a hard look at them. You can't help but fantasize about imaginary situations all night long. Try to see things from an animal's perspective for a little while. Never in an animal's life has it been common practice to spend the night thinking about the past or fretting over the future. They have complete mental freedom to respond instantly to their immediate surroundings. Can we do it again? You possess the ability to liberate yourself from the perpetual loop of fretting and overanalyzing, much like an animalizing, much like an animal. Said, then fretting over things that haven't transpired. You might as well live in harmony with the rhythm of your surroundings. Give up the things that don't make you happy and live in the moment instead of settling for a life of leisure. These issues do not exist in actuality. They are fictitious. The hardest obstacle, though, is still within your own unconscious mind, which you must overcome. You will be free from the control of your mind and its programming the moment you can perceive beyond that. Being fully present and mindful makes your mind less bothersome, but it also opens you up to problems like overreacting, which may make bad situations much worse. If you've ever heard of Eckhart Tolle, author of The Power of Now, you'll know that he speaks about this very idea of the mind controlling our experience. He writes, "The primary cause of unhappiness is never the situation, but your thoughts about it." In other words, the mental stories we spin about our troubles are often worse than the troubles themselves. This is exactly why animals don't suffer the same way we do. They're not trapped in the mental web of regret or worry. They simply exist in the present moment, responding to the here and now. We have the same power to break free from our own mental prison, as Tolle encourages us to do. By silencing the constant chatter of our thoughts, we can experience the world just as it is, without the lens of fear or judgment. When I need to describe pain, I think of the annoyance and frustration one feels when waiting for something. My own mental anguish, a subtle kind of loss, is what's hurting me, not the event itself. Your suffering will instantly end the moment you choose to see things in a positive perspective and accept them without judgment. There is a difference between being in pain and just feeling uneasy. No matter what you're doing, Standing there is bound to cause back itches and general unease. You won't feel a thing. There is a psychological component to the pain. In any case, assess your present circumstances to determine the extent to which your pain, or whatever you like to call it, is caused by actual external factors and the extent to which it is a product of your own imagination. If all you're feeling is pain, you should probably just get out of here. Kindly show me how to do it. I have so many problems is a well-used expression in everyday dialect. When I say, "Where are they?" I really mean it. "You won't be able to miss them," is their response. I come home to a stack of worries. Not being able to pay rent, a relationship that is getting worse, and the possibility of losing my job, soon or entirely. I spend my life juggling everything, particularly the terrible things that occurred a few months ago. With the question, sure, where are they these days? Answered, I had all the information I needed. At this time, I am not able to detect any. Eckhart Tolle often reminds us that we are not our thoughts. In A New Earth, he explains that the past has no power over the present moment. So why should we let past worries and fears define us? Fact is, most of what we think is happening in our lives isn't real. It's simply the thoughts we believe in. Just like an animal does not dwell on the past or fear the future, we too can train ourselves to see through the illusion of time that keeps us trapped in unnecessary suffering. Our minds may generate problems, but those problems often aren't rooted in the present. When we can learn to drop the stories and come into the now, we can experience life just as it is. A beautiful unfolding of moments that don't require our endless thinking or over-analysis thinking or over-analysis. The most powerful lesson animals can teach us is how to live without the heavy burdens of our minds. Whether they're playing, resting, or eating, animals are entirely immersed in whatever they're doing. They don't waste time worrying about tomorrow or lamenting yesterday. They are always here, fully in the present moment, and in doing so, they find peace. This is exactly what Eckhart Tolle encourages us to practice. Presence, he teaches, realize deeply that the present moment is all you have. Make the now the primary focus of your life. By aligning with the rhythm of life in the present, we stop fighting against reality and start living more peacefully. What is the trick to achieving this? How do we break the cycle of overthinking and anxious anticipation? The first step is to notice the thoughts that keep you stuck in the past or future. Just like an animal responds directly to its environment, we must train ourselves to respond to the present without mental interference. Eckhart Tolle's teachings guide us to observe our thoughts without judgment. Instead of becoming absorbed by them, we simply notice them. Then return our focus to what's happening right now. Every time we do this, we strengthen our connection to the present moment. Once we begin to free ourselves from the tyranny of our thoughts, the world starts to look different. The freedom and joy animals experience every day becomes available to us as well. The simplicity and immediacy of the present moment hold an immense power, and once we learn to live it, we discover that the things we thought were problems are, in fact, nothing at all. They were just our minds creating noise. When we stop fighting against the moment, we begin to live fully. In essence, we all have the ability to live like animals. It's not about abandoning all responsibility or acting without thought. It's about returning to our natural state of presence. We can choose to let go of the mental clutter that fills our minds and experience life as it comes, moment by moment. So the next time your mind starts to spiral, remember the wisdom animals offer us. And remember that the power of the present moment is always within your reach. Live in it, and you'll find a life far more fulfilling than you ever imagined. Crucial question, do you have a problem now? Has been answered. One can become more specific by focusing attention on the present moment and acknowledging that there is no problem at hand. With the possibility of incarceration a concern, surrounded by obstacles, I lay there, taking a deep breath. No matter how dire the situation seems, the fact remains. You are aligned with your own consciousness and physical energy. In that profound I, all is well, regardless of external circumstances. Problems arise when attention shifts away from the primary I. By regularly returning to the present moment, one can prevent problems from taking control. This idea is closely related to Eckhart Tolle's teachings. He often emphasizes the importance of living in the present moment. As he writes in The Power of Now, realize deeply that the present moment is all you ever have. It's this shift in attention, away from the past and future, and towards the present, that is key to unlocking peace and serenity. Tolle teaches that as you embrace the present moment, you transcend the mental constructs that create suffering, just as I explore in the process of refocusing your attention back to the I in the here and now. Rather than abandoning reason and responsibility, living an animalistic lifestyle means giving one's undivided attention to the here and now. Animals rely on instinct and have a strong bond with their natural environment, instead of being burdened by constant mental projections. Our current challenge is to get back together and stop letting our thoughts wander. Living an animal's existence may help you relax and enjoy the present moment without stressing over the past or the future. The release that comes from reuniting with one's core self. Put your imaginary world aside and deal with the actual world. Tolle would argue that this is the essence of being, letting go of the mental baggage and simply existing. As he explains in A New Earth, the primary cause of unhappiness is never the situation, but your thoughts about it. It's when we become consumed with thoughts about what was, what could be, or what should have been, that we miss the beauty of the present moment. Animals, by their very nature, exist in the now. They don't question their worth or existence. They just are. In many ways, adopting this instinctual lifestyle of an animal could be an invitation to live more freely, less burdened by what we perceive as important in the grand scheme of our mental narratives. Let your mind wander free from its relentless chatter by adopting a more instinctual lifestyle, similar to that of an animal. You are no longer needed to prove anything, even by yourself. Animals don't doubt their own significance or value. They just are. We are aiming for that type of tranquility. The key is to stop putting your worth in relation to what has occurred or could happen in the past, and start accepting yourself just as you are right now. It's all about living in the now, without preoccupied thoughts or doubts. This philosophy mirrors Eckhart Tolle's principle of presence, which is the state of being fully aware and connected to the moment without judgment or self-criticism. In The Power of Now, he writes, "The moment you become aware of the present moment, you realize there is only life." This ties back to the core idea of embracing yourself as you are right now. The constant inner dialogue that critiques, compares, and worries can fade away when we learn to be present, just as animals do without questioning their worth or existence. This is the state of pure being that Tolle invites us to experience. Your life circumstances, which include your history, present, and future, are distinct from the moment you are currently experiencing. Your usage of those terms here is completely out of character. There, you aren't living your life to the fullest. You wouldn't be able to live apart from your life partner if you had one. You are consciousness, and being is awareness. Away from life, you are worthless. When you say my life, what you actually mean is my life situation. That is an astute point of view. You and your existence are non-existent. In fact, nothing is. Being exactly who you are is the essence of the one life here on Earth. Eckhart Tolle dives into the idea of identifying with the I and how the mental constructs of self can distort our experience of life. As he expresses in A New Earth, you are not your mind. You are not your mind. You are the awareness behind it. In other words, the life you're living is not the life of the mind, but rather the awareness of the moment. When you align yourself with the present moment, free from the narratives of the past or the projections of the future, you can begin to experience life for what it truly is. As animals do, you begin to identify with the world around you in an erect, experiential way, not as a series of mental labels or constructs. To put it plainly, without you, there would be no life. Being naive and thinking you have a life is bad because it leads to self-pity and makes you feel divided from yourself. A perplexing statement. I feel sorry for myself. I'm a victim of my life. Weird. So you can choose to live your life or be a victim. As for every me, there is also AI. In The Power of Now, Tolle explores how our sense of identity can often create division within us. He writes, the ego believes that it is separate from the world, separate from others, and separate from others, and separate from itself. The E that we cling to often feels disconnected from the rest of life, from the flow of existence. But when we transcend the egoic mind, we see that I is not separate. It is part of the whole. This is the point where the dualistic thinking of me versus the world falls away, and we begin to experience life as a unified whole, just as animals experience the world in a continuous, seamless way. I can't live with myself any longer, was how I felt the night I suddenly woke up. I can't stand the idea of being alone. Who is that self, and what am I? I asked myself shortly after. It is imperative that you be physically present here using the pronoun I. Oh, that's really strange. Just saying I hate myself will have the same effect. Even if it's better to love oneself than to hate yourself. When you say, I love myself, you remain trapped in a dualistic perspective. You are quite fond of the likeness that someone has drawn of you. It might serve as a springboard if it's preferable to self-hatred. I commend you for choosing to accept and love yourself despite your discontent. What a brilliant idea. A self-love sticker would look great on your bathroom mirror. But you transcend that at a certain stage. The problem with dualism is that being one's authentic self renders a caring conceptual identity unnecessary. In terms of lyrics, I love myself is reminiscent of the Narcissus myth from Greek mythology. Despite the lack of mirrors in his day, Narcissus reportedly caught a glimpse of himself in a puddle of water as he ambulated past. He was so handsome that he had the thought, wow, look at that, that's me. We don't require designated areas like bodies of water to take selfies nowadays because our phones are everywhere. Narcissus became overconfident in his own greatness. The issue of self-love is also addressed by Tolle, who warns us about the trap of egoic love. In A New Earth, he writes, the ego wants to define itself in terms of an image, an identity or an identity, or an identity or an idealized version of a oneself. So when we say I love myself, the love we refer to is often tied to a mental construct rather than the authentic experience of being. This is where the line between self-love and egoism becomes blurred, as the I and self are really just projections of the mind. I really love myself was incredibly egotistical, even though it could sound admirable to some. The story goes like this. When you divide yourself in half, that's when your ego is born. In addition to me, self, and I, there is also I. I creates a dualistic me in your mind that you can easily identify with. Even if there aren't really two people involved, it seems like you're in a relationship with yourself. The fact that your dog isn't dualistic is just one of the numerous reasons you'll love them forever. No amount of love or hate can change the fact that a dog's heart is completely fair. The fundamental importance of an animal is not in its own worth or appearance. Since it is below the canine's level of cognition, it does not cause undue stress. Tolle's view on the ego is integral here. As he explains, the ego loves to create divisions between me and you, I and the world. But animals, like our dogs, don't engage in such egoic games. They are not concerned with how they are perceived, and neither should we be. They exist in pure awareness, without the burden of self-concept, and in this way, they are closer to the truth of our own nature than we might think. Developing a rapport with oneself becomes superfluous when one is fully engaged in the here and now. You are awareness. You are awareness. You are neither loved nor hated by yourself. A self apart from consciousness does not exist. Cognitive processes are still necessary, but they are not the foundation on which a person's identity is constructed. You are irrelevant in this context. Nothing more than ideas. They are not autonomous. In The Power of Now, Tolle touches on the importance of identifying with awareness, not the mental stories we tell ourselves. You are the awareness behind the thought, he writes. This echoes the sentiment that we are not our thoughts, nor are we defined by them. When we stop identifying with the mind, we allow our true essence, pure awareness, to take precedence. This awareness that is our true nature, not the labels, judgments, or narratives the mind constructs. As we connect more deeply with the present, we release ourselves from the mental constructs that keep us stuck in the past or future. Remember that a lot of your concerns are unfounded as our time together winds down. When you find yourself getting worried about the future, pause for a second and ask, is this something that is happening right now, or is it just a creation of my mind? I would say yes, on the whole. Being cognizant of that might help one stop obsessing over hypothetical situations. Immediate and dramatic relief from symptoms is possible with just a small mental adjustment, focusing on the here and now. The practice of living in the present, as both Eckhart Tolle and I would suggest, brings peace, clarity, and a deeper connection to the essence of who we truly are. In a world filled with distractions, it's a powerful tool for reclaiming our sense of balance and inner peace. Let's keep growing together on this path of self-discovery. Subscribe to our channel for daily inspiration and grow as a person. Comment the word "now" and like the video to show your support. Also, consider sharing this video with someone who could use some encouragement to slow down and enjoy life more fully.